The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para-X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
The Paranormal View. The Paranormal View. The Paranormal View. Time now for the Paranormal View. The Paranormal View on the Para-X Radio Network with your host, Henry Foister, Craig Rupp, and Jeffrey Gould. The Paranormal View.
Welcome, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para-X Radio Network. It's been another great week, and glad to be here. We have a great show lined up for tonight. A few things want to jump out there first before we actually get started. If you are listening from anywhere other than here in the chat room, come on over to para-x.com. Click on the show chat button on the right side of the page, and then click on the player button at the top of the page. And you'll be in this room with all these wonderful people, and you'll be able to interact with our guest by asking questions or private chatting questions to either Jeffrey or Craig or myself. And that's, I mean, it's a wonderful place to be. All these people are just wonderful. So, and if not, well, we still are glad that you're listening. No matter where you're listening from around the world, we appreciate each and every one of you. Tonight, I do have Craig Rupp with us.
Hey, everybody.
And we got Jeffrey Gould.
Hello, hello. Finally awake again.
And I'll be introducing our guest like he doesn't really need any introduction, but we will in a minute anyway. I do want to take a moment to wish his wife, Nancy, get well, and all the prayers and hugs go out to her, and hope she's doing good. With that, I do want to introduce our guest. I have known him since the first investigation that I ever did. The first thing, I guess, that I actually did with the guys from Para-X, because I wasn't doing a show at that particular time. So he is a great friend. I would go anywhere with him, investigations, anytime.
He is married, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait.
So,
no, just...
But he has into a whole lot of stuff. He doesn't have a lot of time with all the things that he does, but he did find time to be able to write a book. And we're going to be talking with him tonight about that book, and it's called Ghosts of Buffalo. And I want to welcome Tim Shaw.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thank you for inviting me on tonight.
Oh, sure.
Hey.
Yeah.
Welcome, Tim.
Yes, sir. Anytime. You know, you're welcome here anytime, though.
I got to tell you, I'm in like esteemed company, because you got Badger, whom I love. You got Craig Rupp, who is the man down in Gettysburg. We have a lot in common when it comes to Civil War. And of course, I look at you, Henry, and I say, wow, what a strange and crazy road this has been. But boy, you've really gone a long way. So yeah, I remember that first night you were sitting up in the cheap seats up at the Sorg Opera House with a I remember that. You did well. You did really well.
And that was only a couple times when you was hollering that you needed to change your Pampers.
Yeah, man's got to change his underwear. You know what? There's two important things in my case. Whenever I go out there, there's two important things. Number one, toilet paper, and the second thing I have is an extra set of underwear just in case. Because if you see me running, guys, you guys got to try to keep up.
You don't have to worry about getting run over, right?
Oh, no, because I'm usually leading the pack. If something jumps out at me, I'm gone.
So, Tim, you're along the lines of that the T-shirt that says, "If zombies chase us, I'm tripping you."
You got that right. To each their own. Everybody, its feet don't fail me now. Mama didn't raise no fool.
Well, this book, because I know if we ask one question, Tim's going to talk 20 minutes on it. But
think?
Yeah. I've got pretty close to 3 pages of questions and stuff to talk about. So.
Oh my God! Now you're scaring me.
Oh yeah, and I know Craig's got some, and Jeff's got some, and there's probably going to be a whole bunch come in from the chat room too. So I think the book is a great book. So if you haven't got it, Tim will be telling you a little bit later where you can get it. And if you're real good, he might give you a autographed copy. So
that's $1 extra, you know.
Oh, okay. That's the way that you had your book in the chapters and stuff. The first one is that I've got down here is Walking the Razor's Edge. And starting off, there's a thing that I'd like to go through, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people that's listening that doesn't really know that much about the paranormal, or what to expect, what to look for. And you broke down the different types of things. And by that I mean the first one you have written in there is called Visiting Spirit Personalities. Now, why don't you explain what that is?
Oh, a visiting spirit personality is actually a spirit personality who is not earthbound at all, has passed, and can come back at will to visit. Most of the time it's like, a grandmother, grandfather, parent, something like a friend that comes back just to check in. And they're not, a lot of people, get all freaked out when, they start, hearing stuff banging around their house and stuff. Basically, I would say probably 90% of most of the residential cases that I've actually gone into were spirits who were in visitation. They weren't there to haunt. They weren't there to be evil. They weren't there to cause any kind of mischief, but they were definitely there just to be known and let the occupants of the house or like my clients know that they're there. And when we work with those type of spirits in that type of situation and setting, that's where I come in and I counsel the people, and I say, listen, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. I'm going to be honest with you. They're not going to leave if they don't want to. It's best for you just to kind of go and, bargain with them, and they'll be good. Believe me, they'll be good. And I've yet to have a problem with a visiting, a spirit that's in visitation.
That was very well said, Tim.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, coming from you, Craig, baby, I love it. Thank you. You humble me, baby. You humble me.
No.
Well, it's interesting. What I liked was the opening as well, because whereas most books, like, let's just get to the ghost stories, which is fine, you go into a lot of detail about the different categories and clarifications, and as well as equipment to go on investigations. I was very impressed with that aspect.
Thank you, Jeff. Let me tell you a little story about what happened. Schiffer approached me to write the book, and I said, of course, no problem. Well, I had the whole book written in about 3.5 weeks. I mean, everything was done. I mean, I was just going to go and have somebody edit it out for me, and that was it. Well, History Press came out with a book called Haunted Buffalo, and basically they took just about my entire format. They took everything, and that's what I get for opening my mouth too much. So I sat back and I talked to Dinah Roseberry of Schiffer, my editor, and I said, listen, this is what I would like to do. I would like to kind of break it into 3 different distinct segments. The first segment, of course, is going to be, well, I want to explain what spirits are. A lot of people don't know that. I want to go into the tools of the trade. I want people that are going to pick my book up, and most of the people that are going to pick my book up, they aren't paranormal investigators. So I'm going to tell them how to do basically things lower tech. That's the way I was brought up. I want to mix it in. I didn't, I've gotten rid of all my IR cameras. I got rid of all that stuff, I'm really, I was brought up old school. So I really like old school stuff. But I also like a lot of the tech when it comes to K2 and the mag lights and, of course, the EVPs and Ovilus and that sort of thing. So I wanted to go and explain that for people so that they wouldn't be afraid to do it. But also, I wanted to go and do a really nice mix of not just hauntings and major hauntings. Originally, I did a lot of the big names here in Buffalo. And what I did is I kind of pulled back on those, and I found some smaller ones. Some ones that people really didn't know anything about. And I absolutely loved it. I mean, that's the meat and potatoes of my research. I love history, and I love to go and bring it out. And the other thing was, history is so important when we start talking about the paranormal field. Too many people just jump in and say, oh, I'm going to go look for a ghost. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But they forget that history is a very, very important part of anything you do. If we do when I was doing residentials, when I was doing a lot of them, I mean, we used to do title searches and everything, trying to figure out what was on the land, what could be causing this, who could be there, the who, what, where, and whens. That's what we're looking for. So when I did this book, I decided that I was going to throw some history in there. I was going to throw some, War of 1812 here was real big. Native American witchcraft was huge. It still is up until this day. I wanted to go and get a good flavor, mysteries for people. So I didn't want it to go strictly as a paranormal book. And they just, I couldn't believe it. When I got the first galleys back, and I saw that they were all in color, I was just like floored. I was still humbled. I'm still shaking my head because for an author to do a new book. Now, I've done a book. I co-authored Haunted Rochester for History Press, and I've done some work with Marla Brooks and some other people for their books. But for a first-time author, a brand-new author, I should say, with a new publishing house, for them to do the very first book in color, that's almost unheard of. So Schiffer was just so nice to me, and I hope that everybody out there enjoys it. I mean, we've sold a lot of books, and I was just so thrilled. So they really, really, really did a wonderful job. So my editor and everybody that supported me on these books is great.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the color as well, because I'm so used to getting all these books, usually from Schiffer, oddly enough, with like really faded photocopy, gray, black and white photos. And I was like, wow, they kind of went to town here.
If I had known that, I would have gotten models to stand next to these places.
Get some shots of,
Yeah.
Of course, we got pictures of you with dowsing rods.
Well, you know what? That was something that I kind of added in because I thought, I'm trying to talk about what, a little bit about them and what's going on with them. And I thought, well, poor Nan. I had to take poor Nan out, gave her the camera, and said, take about 12 shots of me with these dowsing rods. And of course, I had to find the thickest dowsing rods. I usually use very, very thin dowsing rods, but I have a pair here that are hand wrought. A guy made for me. And I said these are the only ones that are going to show up. So I was laughing the whole time when I saw that they accepted that picture in the book.
Well, getting back to the types of spirits, what is the self-earthbound spirit?
Well, to me, there is no such thing as an earthbound spirit, and that's something that I've been doing this a long time. I mean, everybody knows that. I was first introduced into the Lilydale Spiritualist Assembly back in 1963. So, I mean, I've been in and out of it. I took Lyceum classes there. It's like the Spiritualist Sunday schools. So we're taught that spirits are not locked in. They can move on if they should believe they want to do so, or they can. So there's a lot of problems that spirits that may be afraid to go on, or feel that they're unworthy to go on, or they're attached to their body, which and that's a lot of cemetery hauntings. They're attached to locations. They think that they can't go on. There's a lot of confusion. So, I mean, it's up to the medium to work with in spirit, what we call spirit rescue circles, to go in and try to free the spirit that happens to go and feels that it can't go on. So it's up to us to try to explain it to them, and also to call down their ancestors, their family, their friends, and to help from that side, from the other side, to pull them forward. So, but I mean, there is no such thing as a spirit that is locked in that can't go on. It's only locked in because of its own will. And we have free will here in this life, and in the next we'll still have it.
Now, you also talk about animal spirits.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, people don't realize, I had a case where people, oh my God, they were just beside themselves. They thought that demons were oozing out of every pore of the house. And they did some EVP work, and you heard all this grunting and growling and, you know, all this really, you know, animalistic sounds. And of course, what's the first thing you think? You know, when you hear this stuff, every single horror movie known to man comes rolling through your head. Of course you do. I mean, that's just natural. And everybody thinks, oh my God, that we have demons. Well, actually what it was it was a house near the railroad, and actually the house, it wasn't even a house. It was an old slaughterhouse is what it was. It was converted into apartments. And what we were picking up was the residual sounds, the residual vibrations of cows and pigs and sheep that were being pushed down these like, I won't call them alleyways, but they're like troughs, and they were pushed in, you know, and they were cattle prodded into the different sections where they were dispatched, and then, you know, skinned, and then, you know, butchered. So that's what all that was. Once we figured that out, you know, people, you know, the people that lived there, they understood it then. See, there was nothing really nasty that was accompanying it. It was just the fact that they had heard these things, and they sometimes smelled weird smells, or they picked up a weird vibration in a room, and it wasn't anything nasty. So, I mean, you know, when you go to a case, you have to you got to gestalt the case. Gestalting is looking at the entire picture of the case, and so you have to go and you have to really look at it, and that's what we did, and that's what we found. And once they realized that these were spirits, or I shouldn't say spirits, but these were the imprints, vibrational imprints of these animals, they had no problem living there, and they still don't have a problem living there.
You don't have to leave out food or litter boxes or anything.
No, you got your own self-made pets if you want.
Oh yeah.
Although I don't know if I want to, like, you know, a steer or a cow as a pet, you know.
Well, that's true, but at least you'd be able to have something to, you know, mow the lawn for you. But I've heard stories of people whose pets have passed, and all of a sudden they'll feel the weight of that animal hopping up onto the bed, like a small dog or a cat or something.
Absolutely.
I've always wanted, you know, the cats that I've had to come back and visit and still say, oh, get to sleep right here again.
I mean, it was funny when we did the online seance, Marla Brooks and I, and we're 3,000 miles apart. I'm sitting in my office, and, you know, and I was already ready for, you know, getting the trance mode, you know, probably by 5 o'clock my time. So I'm sitting here, and we're get on the air, and we're talking, and and I'm already half in there, you know. I'm already half in what I call half in the bag without alcohol, and I'm ready to go. And all of a sudden, something slow and long, just like shadow, just went right by my desk, right out, you know, my office door. And I think it was because I have a black lab now, but I believe it was my brown lab, Sophie, that passed on a few years ago. She used to like to come up here when I was working, and she'd lay on the bed up here. So I think that's, you know, I mean, I think she comes, and I know Nancy sees her, so along with other people that I just say, oh no, oh no, you're crazy. There's nothing here.
You guys remember a few months ago we had Rick Hayes on, and he told me that my dog was still here.
Oh,
I thought that was awesome.
Rick is a good guy. I've met him several times. He's a real good medium, and I'll tell you what, when he tells me something, he's one of those. I get told a lot of things from other mediums. I really do. A lot of people, because I'm a mediumship instructor. A lot of people, the minute they find out that, they're trying to either impress me or say something to me or whatever, and 9 out of 10 times, and that's kind of a situation, you know, I take everything with a grain of salt. I smile, you know, and say thank you. But when Rick tells me something, you can pretty much take that to the bank. He's one of those gifted people. He really is.
Now,
Well, Tim, oddly enough, one of the experiences I had on the Queen Mary staying over, I was at the Don Shy event a couple of years ago, and after I'd woke up in the morning, and I was just about to hop out of the bunk, I had a ghost dog bark in my face.
Wow, that's cool.
It was a clearly a Labrador kind of bark, because I had been living. I knew it wasn't that dog who had passed away because I would recognize the bark differently, but it was clearly a Labrador type of animal. It wasn't like a German Shepherd bark. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not like I wasn't asleep. It wasn't like I was asleep and it woke me up. I was already awake and getting ready to hop out. And I was like very surprised, and like, that'll teach me not to have recording equipment on.
You know what? We can talk about the Hinsdale House case that I've been working in, and that's a prime example of not putting equipment on, because I had two experiences that kind of blew my mind, and of course both times, guess what? Nothing was on. That's the role that I play in life, I guess.
that does happen that way though a lot. So.
Oh, I think they mess with you like that. I know at this location that I was working, it was one of those. It's one of those locations where it messes with your brain, and it knows. I mean, let's face it. Thoughts. We believe everything's a vibration. We believe thoughts are things. If thoughts are things and are vibratory in nature, and spirit is vibratory in nature, of course, spirit is going to be able to ascertain what we're thinking before we even really get it out of our mouths. So, so it's possible that spirit will play with you. And I know that I've been to so many haunted locations, and a lot of the public locations that I've been at, they love to play with you. I mean, they'll run you around. They'll tell you all sorts of stuff. And, sometimes the one thing, and everybody laughs when I say this, but the one thing you have to understand is, that I've learned through the School of Hard Knocks is that spirits lie. Spirits will lie. Even good spirits are hungry for human contact. So they'll tell you what they think. They think that you want to hear. And, you have to kind of get cagey. You have to go and, I like to ask the same question 3 times to see if I get the answer that I need. Just to make sure that's the spirit that I'm working with. Even the guy that brought Wicca to the United States, a good friend of mine, Raymond Buckland, when I took a divination class with him, he said the same thing. Always ask 3 times, and then try to confuse the spirit. Because if it is who it is, they won't be confused. If it's not, they will be confused. And so you have to just keep got to keep that in mind when you're out there working.
I always got confused for a second when you said Raymond Buckland brought Wicca to America. For a moment, I'm like, what about Stuart Gardner? I'm like, oh wait, no, he brought it to the mainstream in England.
He brought it to the mainstream, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I always kid Buckland about that. I go, Buck. So, you and Gardner, who's gonna win? and Buck just shakes his head and walks away from me.
Well, oddly enough, my first metaphysics teacher worked with Raymond Buckland, named Vinny Gaglione. I don't know if you're aware of him or know him.
I know the name.
Oh, okay. Vinny is awesome. Former Army captain, and he had such a power. Just in normal speech, you were like, had to listen. It was very compelling the way he spoke.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a lot of that's a lot of the very good teachers out there. They have a very, very commanding way of getting their messages and their lessons across. And that's something that's very, very important. It's something that I go and I teach my students. It's something that I was never taught, and I could never understand why. There's a way to convey the message that's cognitive, just not metaphysical. And you have to go and you have to bring it out in a certain way so that people will understand it, but also the tenor of your voice, the way that you speak is very important so that it imprints on the students' the student's brain, and they remember it. And that's what's so important about it. And Ray is just one of those people that, now he's in his 70s and he still has that voice. He'll stand there, and when he teaches, you sit there and go, wow.
Now, because there is so much to this book, in order for, we won't be able to go through the whole thing, I know. So,
I thought Henry was about to say it was going to be a 5-hour show. I don't think.
Well, it won't take that long. But my recommendation is that to find out about all the different things and more that we even talk about, is you need to order the book if you don't have it. So we're just going to be touching on some of the things and then kind of whet your appetite for it, so you will go out and get a copy. Now, back to these spirits. I'm not going to go through all of them, just a couple of them. You also have one in there called addictive entities.
Oh, yeah.
What is an addictive entity?
Addictive entities are parasiticals, basically. And what happens is, well, the thing that I've found is that people who are highly addictive, drug addicts, they're people who have a lot of problems controlling impulses. A lot of times they have spiritual attachments. And these spiritual attachments are intelligent personalities that live vicariously and vibrationally through the human being, the human host. They're parasitical. So what ends up happening is a lot of times these people, these poor people out there will just start to, let's say if you're an alcoholic, they'll start going and consuming more and more alcohol, and they don't understand why. And we're not talking about biological predisposition here. We're talking about someone who all of a sudden one day, goes from having a beer or two to really, hitting them back and just, falling off the wagon. A lot of times we find that these attachments are living vicariously through them. They're almost as if they're psychic vampires. That's it. It all works on the exact same principle. Psychic vampirism and addictive spirits and parasiticals, each one lives off the host, and they grow stronger. A lot of times, these attachments also, not only are they going to go and work with addictive substances, but they are vibrational hogs. They're vibrational vampires. So what they'll do is they'll actually try to go and scare you. They'll try to go and do stuff into your house to upset you. And we know that anger and revenge and those are like really high emotions that cause a lot of increased vibrational fields. And what happens are these spirits just feed off of them. They love it. It's their addiction. So that's another form of parasiticals that you have to watch out for. A lot of times people confuse those type of parasiticals with poltergeist, and they produce a poltergeist-like phenomenon activity. But they're not quite, the same things.
I know one of the ones that you had was human poltergeist. So is that similar to what you was just talking about?
Yeah. What happens is sometimes there's two types of poltergeists out there. One is that these people, for some odd reason, seem to attract or produce high levels of psychokinetic energy, and they don't really, unconsciously, they themselves are actually producing the poltergeist-like activity, while the other type is there is an entity that is causing the poltergeist-like activity. So you have to watch the two, and that sometimes they're really, really hard to discern, because I've seen people get scratched and things move around in where there was no intelligence present. There was no intelligent personality, and that's where EVPs and then that sort of thing always come into play. And of course, I mean, you can't, you go there one night, you're not going to know anything. It's one of those situations where you almost got to camp out, or you got to have people there, or constantly monitoring it, or they teach them how to do the EVP sessions. And after a week, if you get nothing and all the stuff is going on, you have to start looking for triggers, and then you start finding triggers. Most of the time it is adolescent children, adolescent kids, especially girls, but boys are just can produce the exact same thing. And especially when there's a change in hormones, that's where it really starts to get nasty. So you have to look at that. Although I will say that people with emotional problems can produce these types of phenomena, poltergeist phenomena, if the setting is correct, which means that you have to have the right, you have to have stray, naturally occurring psychokinetic energy occurring in a location, and they seem to tap into it. I mean, that's just the best. I hope I didn't confuse you guys with that one, because everybody usually raises their hand and goes, Could we get the crib notes on this? It gets a little crazy, I mean, there's a fine line in between, but we have to always understand that sometimes you're dealing with mindless psychokinetic energy that is manipulated by a person, whether or not they know they're doing it. They can be doing it subconsciously. On the other hand, you can have you can have something that an intelligent entity that is causing it. So you have to watch that. You have to really, really look hard for that.
Now, I just got a question from Kat in the chat room. Reverend Tim, do you think that some folks might almost enjoy being victims enough that they actually attract negative spirits, attached or not?
Absolutely. Why do in my shows, I always say, don't be a victim. And I don't mean that only in the physical sense, because there's many people out there that can turn around and they can be a victim or be victimized by, either an intelligent entity, or they themselves can self-create the phenomena just by sheer will or by latent psychic powers. It's something that it's more common than what you would think. It really is, because we live in a society that tries to make us all sheep, make us victims. People, nobody wants to take responsibility for their actions, and big business and sometimes even the government want us to march blindly. So we have to always remember that. So when we're working with clients, we always have to go and watch what's going on. But yeah, people love it. And the other thing is attention. A lot of people do this for attention. Sometimes they fake it, which you really have to you got to look for the hoaxes. That's one of the main reasons why I really stopped doing residentials. Because I had a couple hoaxes, one right after another, and the people just disgusted me. And, it's a shame, because there's a lot of people that need help out there, and I still do consultations with a lot of groups and stuff. But to go one-on-one anymore, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of you got to really watch it. I actually had somebody that wanted us to come in and prove that that the place was haunted so they could break their lease. And I think it's a true story. It's a true story. And you know what? At that point, are you kidding me? The only thing we found was high EMF that was connected with a doorbell. Everything else was flatline. Nothing. I'll be honest with you. Somebody could pass wind in a room and I'd get more activity than what was in that house, And it was bad. It was just, and that's just disgusting. And then you get people that, and this is the big red flag that I look for, is how many other groups have been inside the house. What's been going on? How many? We had one location that had like 3 or 4 paranormal groups, 2 ministers, a Roman Catholic priest, and in her own words, a gaggle of New Agers that danced around with sage.
Nice.
But and I'm quoting her. I am actually quoting this client, and I'm going to be honest with you. At that point, I just thought, no, I'm not going to go in there. Now, it's either one of two things. This is a woman that's looking for attention, or she has something legitimately going on. But all these other people went in there and really amped it up. And I'm at the point now in my life where I don't clean up other people's messes. I don't have that. This is something that people. All these paranormal investigators, when they first start out, dun 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 dun. Oh, yeah. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to do this. Blah blah blah. And what ends up happening if you do this at any length of time is that you start coming and finding out that other people have screwed up so badly, and they just mess everything up. And you have to really know what's going to be worthwhile and you just got to shake your head. I've talked to John Zaffis countless times about this, because I felt guilty when I started saying, no, I'm not doing that, I'm going to pass it on. to some other group or another person that will go and cleanse the house. And I really did. It bothered me. It really bothered me for a while because I thought, I'm not doing Spirit's work. But Spirit kept telling me, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So I listened to Spirit, but that wasn't enough. So, what do? I call the Godfather up, and the Godfather, John Zappa, said to me, no, you don't owe these people anything. Understand that. You've got to do what you feel is right. And that's why you won't see me take every single case that comes along. You won't see me. I'll advise people. I'll tell people how to do it. I've got the one thing that I've been blessed with is I've developed a huge network of wonderful people around me, and a lot of times when these things cross my desk, I pass them on to qualified people, and I don't have a problem with that. And I think that's if you can do that, if you can pass something, a case on to someone who will do it in a safe, a logical, and a compassionate manner, then there is no foul on that. Then you've done your job.
Now, Tim, do you feel that with all these TV shows influencing people, that it is hindering the paranormal?
Nah, yes and no. Yes and no. I think reality. You guys all know I did a pilot last year for Spike, and those people sucked. I'll be honest with you. What people don't realize is that everything, that every show out there is actually choreographed. It's just not. It's just not. You don't just go out there and they don't build the show around the investigation. I was at this year. I was interviewed for Ghost Hunters and Sci-Fi, and here's what the bottom line was. The bottom line was they were looking for a headless ghost. That's what they were there for. They were trying to prove that. So basically, one of the PAs, the production assistants, took me aside and said, "Listen, Tim, this is what we're looking for. What can you do for us?" And I said, "Well, blah blah blah." I gave them 45 minutes of stories and stuff. They used 30 seconds. Cut it any way you want. So you got to understand, they're going out there to look for something. Now, Ghost Lab was a little bit different on Discovery when they came to Niagara and I worked with them. They actually formed their plot around the evidence that they got, which was really cool. So, but for the most part, a lot of them don't. A lot of them come in there. It's a tight schedule. You go in there looking for X, Y, and Z. If you don't find it, well, this is what we found. See you later. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. The pilot that I worked on, unfortunately, faked an entire scene where they had a paid actor pretend, basically, that he got poked, and they follow him through this area and stuff, and it was disgusting. And what bothered me more than anything else is we actually got a EVP that said, and it was a Class A. I'm talking, it is so clear. Get the F out. Get the F out. That when we were filming the episode, we were showing it. The president of the production company from the back of the room, when they yelled cut, went, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." We saw shadow people. There was a lot of things that they could have done, but no, they have a script. They have an outline that they're actually going and working with. So you have to be very, very careful. I think these TV shows set up false expectations. I think these TV shows don't show any kind of, and a lot of people didn't like Ryan Buell, and a lot of people don't like Paranormal State, but at least Paranormal State had a little bit of spirituality attached to it. And I don't care if people agree, didn't disagree. The people that they brought a vast array of people, from Corvus Nocturnum to Michelle 𝘉𝘍𝑒 and Chip Coffey and all those people. They had some kind of spirituality, where the rest of them are just flat. And unfortunately, that's a shame.
Now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a break here. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about some of the different locations and things that happened in your book.
Amen, brother. Amen.
So we will be
pass the plate.
That's what I've been waiting for. The history.
Yeah,
get it going, baby.
We'll be getting.
I got all kinds of history questions. I'm ready.
All right.
Do I got a witness here, Craig? Do I got a witness?
That's going to be good. So if you're not listening here with us on Para X, please come over to para-x.com and click on the show chat button on the right side of the page and click on the player button at the top of the page, and you'll be in with all these wonderful people, and you'll be able to interact. And you'll be able to private chat questions to either Craig, Jeffrey, or myself for Tim, and we'll get them right over to him. So I'm going to let Craig take us out on break. How does that sound?
Sounds good as always. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. You're listening to the Paranormal View on the Para-X Radio Network with the Reverend Tim Shaw. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para-X Radio Network. Want to thank.
Oh, yeah, come back from break while I got my mouthfuls of crackers. Yeah.
Well, that's the way to do it, though. I do want to thank everybody that's listening, no matter where you're at from around the world. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you're not here with us, though, in the chat room, please come over to para-x.com. Click on the show chat button on the right of the page and the player button at the top of the page. And you'll be in with all these wonderful people and interact by private chatting questions to Craig, Jeffrey, or myself for our guest, Mr. Tim Shaw.
Ironically enough, Nyla has a question. She indicated regarding, and we're getting back to the book anyway, so don't worry about it, Henry. Okay. If on repeat visits to different buffalo sites, have you gotten EVPs from the same spirits?
I'm going to be honest with you, never. Never. I've not got. The same EVPs at the actual locations. Is that what you're asking?
Or if it seems to be the same spirits, maybe not the same messages, but
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. At the same locations, yes, we get repeat EVPs seemingly from the same entity. Unlike some other people out there in the field, I don't really get an entity that follows me to different locations. I know that sometimes, especially there's some people out there that get a lot of cursing, a lot of, that sort of thing, and it seems like they go from place to place with them. That might be something that might be attached to those type of people. But yeah, the terminal, we've gotten overlapping, which means that we've gotten the same voice over and over again. I will tell you that we've got the same type of phenomena that actually happened at the Alden Library, the Alden, New York Library. We've gotten a couple EVPs there that seemingly were of a female voice that were pretty similar. I would actually go and say, yeah, it was the same thing. But we actually had repeat phenomena at that place. So, yeah, those are some pretty strong places. I think that I believe that there's energy lines, ley lines that go underneath these locations, and I do believe that really kind of adds into the psychokinetic energy that's present.
Now, have you guys got any other questions from the chat room?
Not from the chat, no.
Okay. Well, I know you guys got tons of them, and because I got 3 pages, I probably got some of the same stuff you guys got too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys ask a question or two first to start with.
See, you're all right, Henry. I don't care what Badger and Craig write about you on the men's room wall.
I know.
Tim, shh. Well, I got a whole bunch of... Go ahead, Jeff.
Go ahead, Craig, if you're actually going to talk about the book, because I was going to go slightly off topic, so go right ahead.
No, the book is just, like you said, Tim, the history that you put in there is just some of the things, the Forest Lawn Cemetery.
Love it. That's probably one of the greatest cemeteries here in the East. We have a president that's buried there, along with a lot of people that were big and little players. From the Civil War. I absolutely love going there. We actually have across from the crematorium there's actually a Neolithic burial mound that the Seneca, who are part of the Iroquois Confederacy, they say that they did not create. So it predates that. So we're talking stone tool makers. So it's a really neat thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful location.
Now, one of the stories in your book from Williamsville, New York, kind of hit me. As you said earlier, I love Gettysburg, and you pointed out that General Hancock had 6,000 troops there.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
General Hancock.
that is
during the war. During the War of 1812. By the time of the Civil War, I mean, he was a very, very old general out there. He had grown over to probably way over 300 pounds. He couldn't ride a horse anymore. He had to be taken out by a carriage. But
but he looked so good in the movie.
Yeah, I know he did, but you have to go and you have to understand that he was a brilliant, just an absolutely brilliant tactician, and he came up with the Anaconda Plan of the American Civil War. But he was actually when they went against the Queenston Heights in Canada during the War of 1812, he was actually captured there, and it was a pretty bloody battle. And he really they suffered a lot of loss, and they retreated back across, of course, across the Niagara River. So this whole area was just on fire. I mean, the Americans burned Fort George and the village of York, which is now called Niagara on the Lake. And it's a real beautiful tourist area. And in retaliation, the British crept across in a winter raid. They bayoneted all the sentries at Fort Niagara. They got in there, took the fort. It was a very, very bloody battle, and they forced the American troops inland, and Williamsville was a military post and a hospital post. So it was very, very important here, and actually this was all frontier at that time. So. They really held the line. And of course, the British also went in retaliation and burned the village of Buffalo right to the ground. So, with the exception of a couple houses, so I mean, it's this place is ripe with military history. That's why I mean, Craig, you come up here, baby. I'll give you a 50-cent tour that you won't believe.
Well, here's the thing. Here's my next question. Oh yeah, Old Fort Niagara. Now you talked about you actually dropped some things you were carrying down in the basement. Something happened to you.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, in the it's called
I got to get in that basement. That it looks amazing.
Down there.
I'm pretty sure Tim couldn't find what he dropped. Oh wait, I did.
let me tell you something. I loved on Ghost Lab. They recreated it, and they got these two really fine crockery pieces, and these jugs, and they recreate me getting slapped across the hand, and you drop one. Actually, I was walking down the steps with two plastic jugs of hard cider, and we were putting them down the refrigerators down there. But when I was walking down there, all of a sudden I get this real searing, this pain across my right knuckle, and I looked down. And I mean, it hurt so much that it forced my hand open, and I did drop the jug, and I had quite the welt across my knuckles, and it did raise. And to be honest with you, I didn't go back down there until actually they were filming with Discovery. Otherwise, I really didn't. I had no wish to go back in there.
I do.
Well, now I don't care, but
Well, now, didn't I hear
that
you
place
also?
looks awesome.
Didn't I hear you also say something about there was some things in Old Fort Niagara that just absolutely kind of frightened you?
Yeah, I've only been driven out of a location once. Usually, I just go and I cover my head and get into a fetal position. I won't lie. I mean, I've done that. I've slept in so many haunted locations, and that I just get into a fetal position and put the blanket over my head, and put a binky over your head, you're safe. It repels all ghosts, I hear. But we were waiting for a group to come in, and they never showed, and it was late at night, and I didn't feel like coming home. It was about a 45-minute ride to my house, and I was in the Bellagio, which is the French kitchen of the manor house, what they call the French castle, and I had a fire going, and I had straw tick for a bed, laying on the stone floor. I was all set. And when you're a volunteer there, you get used to actually hearing footsteps and doors closing in the French castle. You just do. And I was there for quite a long time, so I mean, it didn't bother me. But this thing just back and forth on the second floor, and the second floor is the most haunted location, in Fort Niagara. And this thing just kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So finally, me being me and treating Spirit like I would treat any other human being, I yelled at her, "Will you shut up already? Jesus Christ, I'm trying to go to sleep, blah, blah, blah." And all of a sudden it stopped. And that air started to get heavy. I'm talking heavy. The hair on my arm started to go up, and I heard a door slam up there, and I heard steps back and forth, back and forth. I just looked around, and I heard, and when you're a reenactor or a historical interpreter at a historic location, you know what these authentic shoes sound like. And I'm going to tell you what, I heard these leather heels hit the stairs coming down. Well, you know what? This kid was like, "Feet don't fail me now." I was gone. I was gone.
That's
ran
awesome.
from one. Oh yeah, I'm not going to lie.
Essentially, the only thing that was missing was hearing it going, "Fine."
Yeah, really. All I knew was I was gone. I wasn't going to wait. And the only way to get out was there's the two bathrooms at the end of the hall. And the one, they're usually locked, but the one bathroom actually has the ADT alarm in there. And I hit it, and guess what? I didn't have the new password. So it was like, about 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm going, oh no. And I don't want to go and I didn't want to bother the executive director, because he was always great to us. He always, Bob Emerson always let the staff stay overnight if they wanted. I mean, it was really it was a great time. So what I did was, since the three main doors were barred from the inside, and the only way to get in was get through the women's john there, I went and I kind of wedged the door shut, went and got my truck and pulled it in front of the French castle, and I slept in my truck that night. So about 7 o'clock in the morning, the maintenance staff comes in, starts knocking on the window, and they're all laughing. They're going, "Oh, Tim Shaw finally got driven out of the fort. Oh my God, we got to write this down. Oh, happy days." They never let me forget that one. Yeah, that was that's the only place that's really freaked me to the point where I had to go. And yet 2 weeks later, I slept in there by myself again. So, I'm just a glutton for punishment.
That is awesome.
But really, it's funny because if I had been there with somebody else, I probably would have went exploring. But because I was there by myself, the one thing that I always tell people is you really should always go, and there's reasons for things happening.
With somebody, right?
Really, you have to watch it, and you have to have common sense, and discretion is the better part of valor. So I had a choice. I could have either gone and provoked it by looking for it or whatever, or I did the right thing and I got the hell out. I never regretted it. I never did. And it's always a great story. But the idea is that whatever was in there didn't want me to be in there. I never felt anything like that before. It was very, very heavy. It was you could just feel almost negative. That's the best way I can describe. Just real. And when I get discernment, it usually comes in the solar plexus. I usually get a upset stomach if there's something nasty or negative coming, and that's exactly the way I felt. And I was like 2 steps away from throwing up in my mouth. That's how negative it was. But when I heard those boots, those heels just hit those. I heard 1 step, 2 steps, and then I was like 6 steps out.
But of course, that also teaches you not to eat fast food before an investigation, too.
Never. That's something else you always watch out for. I was just telling the guys when we were on break, one time we did a lockdown, and they wouldn't let us out. And boy, I'll tell you what, I was looking for flower pots to fill. Coffee cans, flower pots, anything. I'll never do a lockdown again. Especially if they don't have a bathroom that I can use.
Or an axe you can use for the door, I guess. So.
Oh yeah.
So now you're saying if you go down to Gettysburg and investigate with Craig, or Craig comes up there and investigates with you, that he needs to have a what is it, one of those cliff climber ropes attached to you to make sure you don't go running off, or?
No, I'm not. I don't usually go.
I think we'd have a great time.
Oh, I know we would. Well, the big thing is when you're working as a team, I'll be honest with you. When you work as a team, it's like wow. And just the fact that the two of you are there steadies each other. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I know what the hell's out there. That's another thing. When I get that feeling, I think if I didn't get that heaviness and I didn't get that negative feeling, I probably would have stayed in there. But when it gets like that, I got to go. I've only got something like that one other time. We were at Waverly, and we were up on the 4th floor about 4 a.m., and something big and black was coming at us. I didn't know what it was. That negative feeling kind of hit me, and I'm watching it as it's going in a clockwise motion, a very, very slow clockwise motion, and it's starting to swallow up the door jambs and the door frames. And at that point, I decided to take the step backwards and said, you know what, this is your floor. That's cool. Thank you for showing me, yourself. But I'm not sure what you are. I mean, and I'm just opening myself up, and I just can't figure it out. At that point, it's time to walk away. I mean, you got to use your common sense. Mediumship, too many mediums get themselves into trouble when they don't use common sense. Sometimes they feel that they can handle every situation, and unless you go and you're trained for certain situations, or you have worked with people or mentored under people, you can get into a world of hurt.
And at that point, that's when you was behind all the women. Is that right?
Oh man, you kidding me? Women go first, baby. That's the way it works. What do you think? Mama didn't raise no fool here, Henry. Are you kidding me or what? You kidding me? Down in the basement, I hear something. I send Nancy down there. You ain't gonna get me down there. I know it's in the dark.
Now, a lot of your book dealt a lot with the early 1800s, the Revolutionary War, because a lot of the places up there is a lot of history and fairly old. One of the stories you had in there, it was a story about Job Hoisington. Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us that story?
Well, Job Hoisington was a militiaman, and during the War of 1812, he was a carpenter. And actually, he, before the burning of Buffalo, he actually built coffins for the Flint Hill Cemetery, which was later moved to the center of the Olmsted Park system, Delaware Park. And when the British came to attack and burn Buffalo, he was on one of the old roads up by the Carpel's Manuscript Museum, and where it is present day. And he actually, as they were ordered to fall back, he actually said to a sergeant or his officer, I'm going back in there to fire one more shot at him. And he did, and they never saw him again. And they, again, this was something that happened, it was, later in the year. So it wasn't until late spring they found his body. And, of course, it had been stripped by Native Americans, and his head had been, his head had been bashed in pretty soundly. So they buried him there. And when Buffalo decided to go and expand, they had to move all these cemeteries. And if you go up to Forest Lawn, I mean, there's plots where they're just like ossuaries where they just buried the bones. They just went and they sifted the ground and picked the bones out and as best they could, and they buried them in large pits and holes. So what happened was, when they found his grave, guess what? Somebody stole his skull. They knew it was him because there was two big tomahawk chops right into the cranium, and part of it was caved in. So, but they stole it. So they say that his body here he's back. His headless corpse is looking for his skull. But what was really neat about that, before I even knew about anything about the cemetery or anything about Job Hoisington, we did an investigation just down the street, just a little ways. I won't say. I think it's about 4 houses or whatever. And they had a lot of paranormal activity going on in the house. And we went down into the basement, and I looked up and I said, man, that's the most real looking skull I have ever seen in my life. Wow, what a plastic cast that is. I got to check it out. The minute I picked it up, I knew it was a real skull. And it was sitting up on top of a refrigerator in this basement. And I said to the homeowners, where the hell did you get this thing? Oh my God. They said, well, we were digging the flower garden and we found it. So that was all part of the old cemetery where the house was located. And of course, we went and removed the house, or removed the skull, and we did we did a little work, and they never had a problem after that. But a lot of it has to do with the Job Hoisington was one of the big heroes here in Buffalo. And as a matter of fact, they just put a marker up, and it's in my book. They just put it up just, I believe, a year or so ago. So he's one of the unsung people that a lot of people in this area didn't know about, but now they do.
Yeah, Tim has lots and lots of wonderful stories like that in his book. So make sure that if you do not have it, that you do get one from him. There was another story in there about a French sculptor, Henri Marchand.
Oh, Marchand, yeah. Marchand was quite the womanizer. He believed that if you come here and you come to Buffalo and you go to the Buffalo Museum of Science, you see a lot of dioramas. And Marchand was actually one of the people who created these wonderful dioramas up here. But he was a sculptor, and he believed that in order to capture the true essence of the Native American people for these dioramas, that he had to go and work with these Native American women in the nude. And he had many Seneca mistresses. Well, unfortunately, one day it all caught up with him. And see, a lot of people don't realize that the Seneca and Native American cultures have a lot of witchcraft. And as a matter of fact, you could be called a witch for anything. The only natural deaths that really do occur to them were in battle or drowning or something like that. Otherwise, if you died of a disease, someone cast a spell on you. So, this young woman felt that Marchand's proper wife had cast a spell, and she was a witch. And she got a hold of a Seneca witch, and they actually went in there and they murdered Marchand's wife. And it was a really, really long trial, interesting trial. And actually, there's a Ouija board that I don't have in the book, but it just came to light not too long ago that they actually used. They actually used testimony from somebody using a Ouija board or a Ouija-like board during the trial. But when they brought forth the evidence, of the injuries to Mrs. Marchand, they found that the area where the skull had been crushed and bashed in was actually a tool that the Seneca used for exorcising demons out of people. And what they would do is actually they would crush the skull and they would open the skull, allowing the spirit or whatever to actually leave the body. When you start looking at Neolithic grave sites here in New York State and Lower Canada, the Huron grave sites of Huronia and the ossuaries that they found that are all over the place in Fort Erie, you start seeing a lot of pots with holes in them. You see drinking vessels with holes in them, and that is to let the spirit of that item out. Everything is alive to a lot of the Native American culture. So you have to go and you have to be very, very sensitive when you start doing the research into this. But yeah, that's a very, very interesting case. And actually, that case was one that, it was a huge scandal here. But Marchand ended up going and marrying a younger woman anyway. So, to him, he just went on and, la-di-da. That's the way it works sometimes.
Now,
well, speaking of anybody, be accused of witchcraft, you're aware that your little sister's in the chat room, right, Tim?
Oh, Marla. My little sister. I love my little sister. And I want my little sister to feel better because my poor little sister has got a real bad cold. So everybody send healing to my little sister, Marla.
Yeah, I sent her a box of Kleenex, so maybe that'll help.
Oh,
her.
She needs more than a box, kid.
Get well, Marla.
Like a case, I guess. Yeah, I felt bad. I heard about that, Marla. I feel bad about that, but I agree. I'm not surprised because you and I both know, and only people in our area know that our weather here has been insane. It has gone from hot to cold, warm to dry, dry to warm, and it's like it just can't make up its mind.
I think Marla is
I feel
out.
for you.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think my little sister Marla was out dancing naked around the maypole again, but it's just my speculation.
It's a few months early for that.
Never too early for maypole. Sometimes you just have to wear galoshes. That's all.
She was skinny dipping in the ocean there.
I'm not even going to touch that one.
Well, at least not until she puts her clothes back on, I guess.
Tim,
my poor little sister Marla. I abuse her on my show so much, but she's just a wonderful person, and she's a great author.
She is. She's got some great books too.
On my metaphysics book page, Marla's got the top row.
Yeah. Have you been to most all the places that you have in your book, or been to all of them?
Now, I have been to every single one of them. Now, I have not. The ones that I did not investigate, I did go and interview people that I felt and I knew were people that were solid. So everything that I wrote in there, I believe, actually happened. John Cressito, he was, as some people may remember him, he was a DJ here at Para X with Beyond Ghosts, and he's part of the Beyond Ghosts events up here. They put on a lot of events, and he's been all over the place. So I got a chance to interview him for a couple things. And Jenna Whitkin, she used to work at the Museum of Science. So when I interviewed her, I got some great stories from the Buffalo Museum of Science. So I mean, it's wonderful to be able to do that. But the rest of them, yes, I've actually gone and I've interviewed and I've investigated the places.
Tim, what are your experiences? As everybody knows by now, the Buffalo Central Terminal. What's your thoughts on that place?
I just spent 2 cold evenings there for a fundraiser. I was part of a group that raised $15,000 for the preservation, and
that's great.
You know what? For years, I used to think, I don't know if it's haunted. I don't know. Well, excuse me. I got to tell you that I did personally see shadow people down by the ticket booths. I've seen shadow beings on a couple floors. The trolley lobby, we had a ghost box and a K2 session there that whatever it was wanted us out of there. I mean, it just said, "Get out now," and we would go, "We got to say it louder," and it would repeated it the same phrase several times. But lately they have they've seen a workman with a plaid shirt that has wandered around there. 2 separate people have seen it, and during the last during the last tours for Halloween, somebody took a photograph, and I haven't seen the photo yet, but a couple of my friends have, and there's a person there with a plaid shirt that shouldn't be in that group. And let me tell you something, everybody was dressed for sub-zero weather up here because that place is a big icebox. The Anthony Fedeli apartment, he used to own the Buffalo Central Terminal for a while, and he was like like a playboy, and had parties and stuff up there. And the interaction we get in that area is phenomenal. But I think the most craziest thing that I ever heard was, they brought me up there and they brought me cold to go through there. And we were up on one of the floors, and I just felt like a little boy playing with a ball. And I'm going, I'm going to throw this out to you. And that's the way I am. I just throw it out. I don't really care. It's not my thing. I've been taught a long time ago. I don't think anything is right or wrong. I'm just getting an impression, and if it doesn't pan out, I don't really care. I just put it out there for everybody to judge, and if it sticks, more power to it. Well, anyway, I got that impression of a little boy, playing with a ball, and everybody's face kind of dropped. And I was like, what's going on? They played me an EVP. It sounded like a little boy saying, "My name is Zachary." I mean, it's pretty wild. And then they went and they took me into this one little like a steam fitter closet, opened it up, and they had a ball in there for the little boy to play with. So that they themselves had brought in. So that was a really unique experience. But I love the place. The trolley lobby is my absolute favorite place to investigate. And when I took people down there and we worked a little bit down there, somebody had an ovilus. And the minute I got down in there and they had already established a session, it said my name. It just said Tim. Like I got like about 5 feet away from it. And the K2s were the K2 hits were amazing. I mean, it was almost as if it was on command. It was probably one of the most one of the most impressive displays of K2 hits that I've ever seen. So I love the place, and there's so much history in there. It's you got to think of it like this: so many people, left for World War II and Korea and Vietnam. They all went to their, all these soldiers went to their muster stations from that location, and many of them never returned. Up in the mezzanine, there, the USO had a cantina up there, and there's a big buffalo that used to be in there. They have a replica in there now, but the buffalo was a big stuffed buffalo, and a lot of the servicemen would go and rub the legs for good luck, and it was rubbed so much that there was no hair, there's no fur, well, the buffalo have hair. There's no hair left on some of the one side of the leg. So it's just an unbelievable place. And I remember as a little kid being about 5-6 years old, I remember taking a train out of there to Boston to visit my mother's relatives. So, I mean, it really does have a special spot in my heart. I really love that place.
I got to see it for about a half hour one day, and I'd love to get in there during nighttime.
Yeah, it puts on it's a whole different thing. I mean, I'm going to tell you what, Shadow People, on a good night it'll rival Waverly, hands down. On a good night you're going to see them. You sit down in the main concourse, and you just look up at the mezzanine, and you start seeing them going back and forth. It's pretty intense sometimes. There's a lot of residual. I'm not going to stick my neck out and say there's a lot of intelligence there. I'm going to say there's a lot of residual. As a sensitive, I feel the movement of energy, the repeat movement, and it just feels like there's so much energy, especially when you start going towards where you would board the trains. And right now the one area is bricked up because as the trains got larger over the years, the walkway that went over the tracks actually had to be demolished. So they had to go out and you had to board the train from a different doorway, and you can just feel it. You really can. I mean, a lot of people have remarked to me that don't do the work that. Wow, why do I feel like I'm moving? Why do I feel like there's a little push? And that's what it is. It's a little like a dizziness, I think a lot of people report over there. So it's a great place. It's just a neat place to go.
Now, since our time is just zipping right on by.
Say it again, Henry, just like that.
Zipping right on by. And,
I like that, Henry. I think that should be your little hallmark there. Hi,
yeah, there you go.
My name is Henry Foister, and time is zipping on by.
Now,
I like that.
We haven't even scratched the surface of the book. So what we're going to do, though, is we're going to take us another break, and I'm going to let Jeffrey take us out on that one. But if you, because we won't even scratch the surface, you're going to end up having to go buy one of these books to get all the great stories and history out of it. So we will be back in a few minutes. Before we go, though, I know Pat is in the chat room from Ghost Soldiers, and he's talking about thing that they've done, or that we've done, I guess you might say. I get to be a part of it, I guess, a small part. When we was at Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and it's going to be like 3 hours long, so it'll be on 3 different weeks. And the first episode is the 21st of November. The second episode is the 28th of November, and then what does that make it? The 4th, 5th of December, something like that. So that will be, you'll have to watch that over on ParaX Vision. It's on Monday nights at 8 o'clock. So do tune in for that. Jeffrey, why don't you run us on out here for a quick break?
Sure. You're listening to the Paranormal View on para-x.com with the one and only Reverend Tim Shaw, author of the new book Ghosts of Buffalo and sole proprietor of the luscious Black Cat Lounge. So when we come back, maybe we'll learn if when the British burned buffalo, whether that's how they discovered how to cook buffalo wings. Oh, wait.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the ParaX Radio Network. I tell you, because time is zipping right on by, we have got some things that we need to jump into real quick like here. I do want to thank everybody that's listening, no matter where you're listening from. And we do have listeners tonight from the U.S., UK, Canada, and that sneaky other place. We have 5 listeners from there. So welcome and glad you are here with us. If you're not here in the chat room with us, you can do so. Come over to para-x.com, click on the show chat button on the right side of the page, and then the player button at the top of the page. And you'll be able to interact with all these wonderful people and with our guest. Speaking of that, I do have a question from the chat room. It is from Yeti from Pima. And he wanted to know, Tim, is there a heavy influence from the Scandinavian immigrants that moved into that area near Buffalo?
Not really in the Buffalo area. We have originally a heavy Irish immigrants because of the Erie Canal, because this is the western terminus of the Erie Canal. And then later on, we had a lot of German, Polish, and Italian immigrants came up, especially during the just post World War I and going in through World War II for the heavy steel industries that were up here. So that's where most of our real heavy cultural influences are.
Now, if you guys got another question you want to throw in there before I get started again?
I guess you can get started. I mean, you only, yeah. And like you say, all you need to do is ask one question and just Tim goes. There it goes.
That's the way it is, baby. Wind me up and watch me run.
One of the stories I found very interesting is story of Rose, the vanishing hitchhiker of Sugar Road.
That's actually right around the corner from our house here.
Really?
That's
so
a story.
Did you come to the door and ring the bell, or?
Yeah, no, it's one of those urban. What it is. It's one of those urban legends, and chances are that it probably never happened, but it is.
But it's cool.
It's part of the mythology, and that was something in the book that I wanted to capture, because in our society, our modern society, it just seems that we're not saving our mythology. We're letting it all go. We're too busy being on the computers to have an oral tradition, you know. And this is something that I heard from being a kid. And the story is, of course, it's a typical story where a guy on a rainy night is making a turn off of Walden Avenue onto Pine Ridge Road. And what's neat about Pine Ridge Road is after you go through the house, you know, the populated area, it is pure cemetery for about a half mile on each side of the road. And Sugar Road juts straight out, or, you know, cuts right off going into the city of Buffalo, right in that area. And it's just cemeteries all over. And right on the corner of Pine Ridge and Sugar, there used to be a caretaker's house. So the story goes that the guy makes the turn. He sees a girl hitchhiking, and he pulls over. And again, it's always that something out of character, just something told him that he had to go and pick her up. And of course he did, and they chatted for a little bit. And as soon as they crossed Genesee Street, when they go into where the cemeteries are, she got very, very quiet. And as they got closer to Sugar Road and Pine Ridge, she disappeared. So the guy was a little freaked. He looked down, and there was a red rose sitting on the passenger seat. So as he had stopped in front of the house, the caretaker's house, and the lights were on, he got out and he knocked on the door. And the gentleman that came to the door said to him that, geez, that my daughter comes, you know, you're not the first person that came through. My daughter has been here several times, and her name is Rose. And that always gave me the creeps. And as a kid, and even with my wife and I, Nancy, where we were going out together, we would go out there, and there is no lights. I mean, there's no street lights. And as you make that turn going on to Sugar Road, it is just pitch black, and you turn your lights off, and the only thing that you could see were at that time were the red glow of vigil candles that were next to the gravestones. And also, I mean, back in the early 80s, and of course, you know, we're talking disco, and you know, it's many of the drugs that are illegal now weren't back then, or they were, you know, they were good for you, I think, back then. I remember a friend of mine saying that he was coming up there and he looked over and he saw what he thought was a hitchhiker right up in that area that had devil horns on. So of course it was disco, so you never know what the heck it really was. He could have had platform shoes, a polyester suit, and devil horns. He was styling at the time, but it is a unique area. And also every couple of years, kids get very, very brave, and they go, and there's like a little ditch on each side, and they'll actually jump out of the ditch around Halloween and scare the cars, and unfortunately sometimes the cars will veer into a tree or hit the fence.
Oh no!
Yeah, that does happen. But yeah, literally, you know, I'm literally walking distance from Pine Ridge, and I'm probably, you know, if I was to drive there, it's probably I'm less than 5 minutes away.
Has your curiosity ever got the best of you?
I've been there several times at night. Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I'm coming in from Buffalo, if I do a talk in Buffalo or I attend a meeting from the Buffalo Historical Society or something, I get off the expressway right up there, and then I drive straight down Sugar Road and right up Pine Ridge and take the back road to my house. There are a couple times there that something tells me don't do it, so I'll kind of bypass it and cut back. But I won't lie. I mean, it's just the way it is. But yeah, there's a lot of nights that I've gone through there, and there's a lot of nights that I've just, you know, just rolled down the window and took pictures either with my camera phone or my or you know, just my camera and just, you know, a lot of orbs, of course. I mean, I don't really believe orbs or anything, but I mean, you never know what you're going to get. And what is really neat there is there is a grave that's in there, and it says, "For a few cents and New York State tax, you too can rest easy like me." That's on one of the graves right there, right off of Sugar Road. So I always love that one.
Well, you know, there's stories about hitchhikers like that all the time. There's one right here in Hamilton, where I'm from. The ghost is supposed to be up in Rose Hill Cemetery on top of the hill, and you just take it right straight down the hill into Hamilton, and right off that road is a road called Dayton Street, and that's where the girl is supposed to be taken to. And they would say when they get there, she'd have him go up to the door to make sure that her folks are home. And when he goes up and knocks on the door and tells them that your daughter's here, you know, because it's raining and all, and they look at him and tell him, you know, that, well, this happens ever so often, but our daughter's been dead for X number of years.
There's actually a book. It's called, I'm looking at it right here on one of my shelves. It's called The Vanishing Hitchhiker, and it's all about urban legends.
Right.
And you can actually trace the hitchhiker legend all the way back to horse and buggy days, which is amazing to me.
Wow.
That something like that. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the most enduring legends, universal legends, every area. When I started doing work for the book Haunted Rochester, all through Rochester, New York, it's out there. When I started going down into the Olean, New York area, Southern Tier area, sure enough, haunted hitchhikers, vanishing hitchhikers. So, you know,
do they give locations?
Yes,
I know we had a vanishing hitchhiker in Passaic, New Jersey.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is amazing. I probably have tracked down about 45 within a 2.5 to 3 mile drive from my house.
Wow.
Shouldn't that teach people they shouldn't hitchhike while they're alive so that they don't become ghosts that hitchhike?
Well, most urban legends and mythology are more morality plays, and what they do is they teach. You know, back in the old days, I mean, these things were there to teach safety. Early on in Neolithic times, I mean, it was the safety of the breeding stock, the human breeding stock. Don't go out at night. Don't talk to the big bad wolf, that sort of thing. But later on, we start finding out that as life goes on, as time went on, these legends morphed into something that would be more pertinent to the time period of which they were being told. Thus, going out at night is dangerous. You can, for girls to go out, this is what's going to happen to you. You too can be a ghost. So there's a lot of there's a lot to it. So I love legends, and especially urban legends, because they are our own mythology, and that's something that it just fascinates me.
And every place has to have one of those crybaby bridges or the train coming down the railroad track.
Yeah, those are great. Come on, those are great. You got to go out there. We got Pigman Road up here. The only reason I didn't put it in the book is because it's been so written about over the years, and it's so it's a total urban legend, but it's based on the Angola horror, which is the Great Angola New York train wreck in the 1800s. A train derailed going over a bridge, and as it went down the embankment, it was in the cold weather, and the coal stoves broke loose from their moorings, and they went and they set the cars on fire, and all these people burned to death. So a lot of times these urban legends do have a kernel of truth if you look deep enough.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I live near Colorado Street Bridge, which is actually called the Suicide Bridge because there have been documented cases since it was being built of people jumping off. And it's a really high bridge down to pretty much dirt, and in this case now cement. And there was talk of a woman who literally threw her baby over and then jumped, killed herself. The baby actually landed in some branches of a tree and survived. But it's also considered, kind of a crybaby bridge. And I went down investigating with a local group, and we got an EVP of what sounded like a child making little gun ricochet noises in an area that we had heard nothing.
Neat. You never know what you're going to get. But again, you always have to think about it like this. Is it a wandering spirit who is going and picking up your vibrational thoughts and giving you back what you look for? So you always have to keep that in mind, when you start investigating any kind of urban legends or what you're working with, out in a situation like that.
Yeah. No. Well, we were going under the premise that it was just haunted, not about the urban legend aspect.
Oh, I love, like I say, urban legends are just fun, and the most fun about them, I love them because you can go out at night and it just scare the heck out of yourself.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Now, two of the places, Tim, that you talk about in your book, now I don't want to give too much away because I want people to go out and buy it, is the Lancaster Opera House and the Shays Theater. Why do you think there's so much activities reported in these type of places?
Well, again, they're both places that are, they had high emotional impact. A lot of laughter. Again, when we start working with mediumship, the big thing that you look for in mediumship is love and joy. You want to do this from a position of love and joy. When I go up and I'm going to do gallery work in front of an audience or whatever, I'm ready to throw up. I hate it. I get the worst stage fright you ever want to see. Get up there, I'm three, 4 steps away, all of a sudden love and joy, I'm happy, I'm thrilled to be serving spirit, bang, I'm up there and I get a great connection. Well, in these places you have a lot of people that are laughing, there's just high emotion, and it imprints in these places. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing when you get a chance to explore them. The Lancaster Opera House is actually a beautiful, beautiful building. That used to be, and it still is, I take that back, it still is government offices there, town offices, and they had actually gone, and the opera house itself, they had turned into, just more offices and just storage space. When they rediscovered the stage, they went and they reconditioned everything. It's absolutely just great. My wife and I love to go there. But the lilac woman who sits up in the balcony, I've actually felt her. I've actually been in there and looked up for something would just attract my attention. Up, as you're sitting on the floor level, and it's up to the right in the balcony. And she was an actress, I believe. And again, it's we don't know how true the entire story is, but we do know that for some reason the entity loves it there, and she's very, very nice. But other things have happened there. I mean, you had a big TV set that was actually just yanked right off the stage during a performance. When the elevators are locked up, which means you can't use the buttons to go up or down. They move by themselves, so it's a beautiful place. Now, 𝘎𝘲's is one of the great grand dames of an age where movies and vaudeville were king. They have a big Wurlitzer organ in there, and everything was painted in the fake Mediterranean and beautiful styles, European styles of the time, and it is phenomenal. And I actually investigated that twice. And they don't really allow a lot of people in. I investigated once when I was an associate pastor up at a spiritualist church in Niagara Falls. We went in there to do a walkthrough, and then later on with the guys from Beyond Ghosts when they had an event, and I did a psychic walkthrough for the people and bird dog the places that they found. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of residual energy again because you got a lot of people moving in and out, in and out, in and out. But on the stage, wow, there's something there. It's really magical. And also underneath it, if you get a chance to ever get down into the nitty-gritty, into the crawl, into like the basement areas where they used to have it was one of the first places that actually had air conditioning. They would bring in these great big blocks of ice from ice houses, and they would set up fans, and the fans would actually push the air up from underneath the seats to cool it. If you ever get down in that area, it's almost as if the workmen are still there. You get a lot of shadow people coming out, and people did get a lot of neat EVPs there. So it's just a beautiful place if anybody ever gets a chance to go and visit either one of them. I love both of them. And Ghostlight Theater, that's the other one I love here. I just, theaters are just so wonderful. The personalities, the stories. It just takes your breath away when you walk into these places, especially Ghostlight. That used to be a church at one time, so you have a lot of history to it.
Yeah, I know. The first place that we did was the Sorg Opera House.
Love the Sorg Opera House. That place was unbelievable. That was just a great place to go.
Just a light bit cold, but other than that, it was a great place.
Henry, if it's not cold, it's not an investigation. If I'm not wearing long johns and a heavy coat, it's definitely not an investigation. I don't think I've done an investigation in the last 3 years that I wasn't freezing at.
Now, before time does run out, I got another place. Did you have something real quick, Jeff?
You'd earlier said, Tim, that you got rid of your IR cameras. Did you sell them or give them away or lose them or?
I got rid of everything. I gave them away. I didn't really sell any. I sold some. I sold off a couple things earlier this year that was just extra stock. But I don't believe in using a lot of it. The reason is because I just don't feel like. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm lazy. I don't feel like going and running cable and all that stuff. My good friend Joe Piari from Crossroads Paranormal, he really goes and he believes in having individual cameras. Camcorders, recording, individually with external battery packs on them. This and we can have everything set up and torn down. Literally, we can have 8 to 10 cameras, sometimes 12 cameras set up in less than 20 minutes. It's great. Bang, bang, bang. We're done. Instead of running cable, then at the end of the night, wrapping the cable up. I want to go home. It's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm 54. I want a nap.
Oh, you're still young.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously.
But you know what? In all honesty, the reason I got rid of a lot of stuff, it just was worthless. I collected so much stuff over the years that how much can I have? I mean, I got closets that were just filled to the brim, tech vests and all sorts of doodads and stuff. I did keep. I carry 3 to 4 K2 meters with me at all times because I set up perimeters. I have 2 digitals that I absolutely love. Digital recorders that I use constantly. I always use those in 2 separate areas of the house. I will use motion detectors, mostly so that I know that other humans aren't walking in and triggering, going and contaminating the area. But I'm a big trigger guy, or a trigger object guy. I like that. I love to set up some kind of an object that is associated with the building, and I'll put one of the camcorders on it and just let it go. Also, I use. I don't really use IR anymore. I use full spectrum light because 2 reasons. Sony isn't really making IRs anymore. You know, the night shots.
I know, that's why I was going nuts.
Yeah, so I got a great deal on a Panasonic HD, and I'm going to be honest with you, in a low light setting, on it with a full spectrum light, you don't get the deep density, but you do get a real nice nice image. Now, if I want to do something for an entire room, I have a lot of you guys know that I have a video studio in my basement that we've been working on. So I just take the photography lights, and I actually put black lights in there. You can get the bulbs, or they actually have black light fluorescence now. And I'm going to be honest with you, I like them. They really show the room. They actually bring some things out. We do seance. We do red lights. We do photographic dark room red lights. That's the way that I was taught to do seance. You never do anything in the dark. So those are cheaper alternatives to it. And especially, people going into it, you're going to go buy an old Sony camera. You're going to pay a good buck. Sometimes you can get sweet deals on HDs and camcorders, and you can actually achieve the exact same thing. There's only been a couple times that I can say that I've actually caught anything on video. The majority of the things that I've caught is just about have always, of course, been K2 interactions, dowsing interactions, that sort of thing. But also, recording. Recording has always been the number one thing that I've been pretty lucky at.
Okay. Time is just zipping right on by.
We got a new one.
And what I want is
it's great, Henry.
But before it runs
I love you guys.
I'm gonna have that zipping in my head all night now.
Before it does run on out, though, there's this place where you'd think would be filled with the spirits of children, the German Roman Catholic Orphanage.
Absolutely. And you know what? John Crescito went in there. I was there to take the photographs. It's a really neat place. It's in a real nasty section of town. As a matter of fact, I was there very, very early in the morning, and one of the residents kind of stumbled up to me. And he goes, "Hey, what are you doing? That place? What are you doing? You taking pictures?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm taking some pictures. They're gonna tear it down." I said, "No." I said, "I'm doing it because I think it's haunted. I'm taking some pictures of it." He goes, "Haunted as like in voodoo?" I said, "Worse than voodoo." He goes, "I'm never gonna go in there again." And he ran off. So that was a neat place. But absolutely. John Crescito actually got permission to go in there, and he did get EVPs. He actually heard children running around there. And again, that place was built in direct correlation to an historic event because of the epidemics that swept Western New York. Typhoid and the Spanish flu just destroyed the area. And all these religious bodies, they had to do something because, seemingly healthy people would be in peak health one day. The next day they would be dead. That's how quickly this stuff killed them. So there were a lot of old people and a lot of orphans out there. So that's why these places were created. And as a side note, they just renovated them, a couple of the buildings on the grounds, and people are actually renting apartments in there. So all I'm going to tell these people is this: you hear some crying in the middle of the night, get used to it, because that's just what happens there.
Now, since
I wonder how much the rents are.
Oh, believe me, more than what I want to pay for that section.
Oh, are you kidding? That would be awesome. I mean, every house I grew up in had something in it, but I'm wondering how often they get a quick turnaround.
I don't know. I just clipped the article out of the paper the other day. So it's about 2 weeks that they've been in there now. So it's going to be interesting. I kind of can't wait to kind of do a little follow-up on that.
As an apartment house, does it have a different name?
Yeah, and I don't want to say it on the air. Yeah, I don't want to say it on the air because I don't know if the people if anybody listens or not. I don't want to go and have them freak out because they're going to be that damn Tim Shaw said something on there.
Now everybody wants to come in. Yeah. Since you did that one fairly fast, we'll do one more. I know that
Fairly fast.
they've got a Navy yard there, or a museum, and they've got a vessel there called the USS Sullivans, and that was
Yes.
named after the 5 Sullivans that was killed in World War II. With that tied up there, what's some of the paranormal activity that takes place with that?
Well, I'll tell you, because there's the Buffalo Naval Park has three vessels there: the USS Sullivans, the Little Rock, and the Croaker, and all 3 vessels are actually haunted. And I've been on board the USS Sullivans, and it's amazing. Well, there's battery drains. There's people see this ghostly ensign that supposedly walks around. And when we were there, it was pretty wild because there was a tapping. We were down in below decks. We were down in the seamen's mess, and we kept hearing this tapping. So we're following the tapping, and we're on a tin can here, so you could be coming from anywhere, but it always sounded like it was in front of us. So we just to kind of check it out, we would go backwards, and the tapping would stop, and then start tapping like where it was coming from before. So we finally got up to a stairwell, and it sounded like it was coming directly to the top of the stairwell on deck 2. So we went up there, and then all of a sudden it sounded like it was coming from down the hall. So we came down there, and it stopped in the chief petty officer's mess. So it was pretty neat, I mean, it took us for a little tour, and then when we started interviewing other people who had been on board at within the group from a different time, a different investigation, they got EVPs in the chief petty officer's mess, and they got a lot. That's where they saw someone walking through there. It's just a beautiful building. But what's really neat about the whole story about the Sullivans and the Buffalo Navy Park is they were on board the USS Juno, and the USS Juno I believe, was going to Okinawa. It was in the Pacific, and it got crippled. It got hit by a Japanese destroyer. So they patched it up, and they were heading back to their closest base where they could refit it. Well, they had to go across a stretch called Sub Alley. As they were going through it, a Japanese sub torpedoed them, and the ammunition it must have got into one of the powder magazines. The ammunition magazine just blew it right up, and subsequently almost everyone on board died because no one could come back. Everybody was afraid to come back for the survivors because it was so dangerous. Well, what was neat is the fact that the USS Croaker was brought. It's a World War II submarine. It was brought to the Naval Yard. It's moored right up in front of the Sullivans. Well, they didn't know it until they did the research on it. And when they did the pedigree, they found out that the USS Croaker was the submarine that sank the Japanese destroyer that initially wounded the USS Juno, causing it to be torpedoed later on, and the deaths of the Sullivan brothers. So, I mean, we're talking one of the great ironies of of history, and that's what I love about it, and this is what paranormal investigation should be all about. Not just going out with meters, but enjoying life and finding all these wonderful historic stories and being able to preserve them. That's what that's the fun of it.
Well, since our time has zipped right on by, what we're going to do is, Tim, I appreciate you being on tonight. Really, I do.
Anytime. We love you, Henry.
We love you,
and
too.
And Jeff and Craig.
So I'm going to give you a minute or so to give all your sites out about your shows and where they can get your book at.
Well, The Ghost of Buffalo is on sale at of course, Schiffer Publishing, and you can buy it on Amazon, or you can buy it through me. And everybody that's written to me, I'll be getting back to you with the way you can order it. And my email is blackcatlounge1@yahoo.com. And also, my website is www.theblackcatlounge.net. Make sure you put the THE in there, or you go to a porno site down in Houston, Texas. Next week, Saturday, in competition to my buddies here, from 9 o'clock on, I'll be with Paranormal Crossroads. We're going to be doing a live investigation at the Marjoram Manor Winery up in Niagara County. So that's going to be a lot of fun. On November 26th, I'll be at a book signing at the Buffalo and Erie County Historical Society. December 7th, I'll be at a book signing at the Holistic Association of Western New York. It's a charity event. It's going to be a lot of fun. And let's see what else. Every Thursday night, you can listen to me right here at Para X at the Black Cat Lounge. This weekend, we're going to have Catherine Olin on, and we're going to talk about the upside of undertaking, which is going to be a fun time. And when I'm not doing this and hanging out, I'm running amok and just trying to be as cool as you three guys.
All right. Jeff, you get 30 seconds.
I also want to thank you, Tim. I want to thank you, by the way, because next time you come on, we're going to have to discuss Please Talk With Me.
Anytime. Oh, yeah, definitely. I just did a voiceover for them, so it'd be a lot of fun.
Oh, well, you definitely got a voiceover voice, so there you go. But yes, my website is jeffgould.net, jeffgould.net/2011. Listen to the earlier shows, so more detail. You can get your Paranormal View apparel at cafepress.com/realbadgershot. And if you go to Facebook, look up Paranormal View. There we are. And on my site, the jeffgould.net/2011pnv.htm has reports or links to the reports of each of the shows, on which are links to most of the stuff that Tim has been talking about, his website, his books, all sorts of stuff. So we look forward to having you on again, Tim. Yay, thanks for coming on.
Anytime, guys. Anytime. I love coming on. You guys
Thanks
are really
so much, Tim. This has been a blast.
Yes.
I mean, you guys are. What I like about you guys is, I mean, you guys are your interests and your expertise are spread across the board, and that's what brings out a great show, because you're able to go and talk to people on so many different levels, and that's what's fun about it. So I want to thank you guys. You guys humbled me by asking me to be on the show. I really enjoyed it. Thank you guys a lot. Really, seriously.
We do appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
Yes. Stay on, though, Tim. After we get off, we'll talk with you. Next week, we have Tracy Austin Peters with us. She does a TV show in Las Vegas called Let's Talk Paranormal. She is an author, and we will be talking to her about the ghosts of Las Vegas. So, till next week, this is Henry Foister.
Craig Rupp.
Jeffrey Gould.
And we will see you next Saturday night at the same time, 8 o'clock. Till then, good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, good night.
We're leaving. We're gone. Paranormal View. Come back and visit us again if you dare. You've been listening to the Paranormal View on the Para X Radio Network.
The Paranormal View.